Hello everyone, welcome back to Spurs from the Stands. I'm Sarah, and today we are running through last night's game, Tottenham Hotspur versus Arsenal. Now, before I dive into that, excuse the state of me. I've had an absolutely horrendous past 24 hours because not only did my phone die on the way back from last night's game when I was vlogging, but also I edited the match day vlog, a 35-minute vlog, which took me the best part of 4 hours to edit, and then the file got corrupted. So not only that, my laptop has now decided to start playing up. So the matchday vlog will be out a little bit later today. I've also seemed to have developed some kind of hay fever or horrendous blocked head nose situation over the past 24 hours. So I apologize if I have to pause this video for any reason. But yeah, not a great state of affairs. Now, before we continue, I'd like to say if you're new around here, please do like, subscribe, comment, and share on this video because it really, really does help boost the channel. And look, a problem shared is a problem halved. So if you are someone who's suffering in the world of Tottenham Hotspur and being a fan these days, then maybe this might be the channel for you. So I noticed in my last video as well that I kept saying a lot. And I appreciate you all for sticking with me, particularly if you've been here since the very beginning 6 weeks ago, because I am going to try and make a conscious effort in this video to stop saying So if at any point my pace seems to have slowed down. That's why. But I do appreciate you all. And of course, as you guys know, if you've been around here since the beginning, that this is not my full-time job. And I have a really hectic schedule this week. So I am going to try and re-edit that match day vlog a little bit later tonight. So I appreciate you waiting with me. And I know it's a horrendous watch to watch back. It's going to be even more horrendous for me to go back and edit it all. However, there were certain points, key moments in the game yesterday, which I did manage to capture on film. Of course, it's not great to watch us conceding goals back, but we did have Dele Alli at half time, which I managed to record for you guys because I know some of you were saying in the comments previously that one of the things about being someone who watches games on the TV is that you can't always get a sense of the atmosphere or particularly certain parts of the game. And I really wanted to show some of that to you, but also I managed to capture quite a lot of Igor Tudor on the sidelines. And I know there's been some stuff circulating already, but just from my perspective, and as you guys know by now, I kind of do a bit of narration over some of that. So hopefully a little bit later today, all being well that this does record as I hope it should, because the laptop is playing up, then that will be with you hopefully a little bit later today, but no promises. So fingers crossed, because a bit like Spurs, my technology seems to be a little bit up and down right now. So let's dive into the game. I can't bookmark and I can't, I'm using a new software, so I can't bookmark these videos now, which is really annoying, but I'm going to try and put timestamps on this if I can. But if not, you can just scan through if bits aren't relevant for you. So, yesterday's game, where do we begin? I've had so many videos on here so far where I've had a rant about the game, particularly that first video that I did against Aston Villa. And let's be honest, nothing has really changed. And I don't want this to be a rant, but of course, it's so embarrassing. It's so demoralizing right now to be a Spurs fan. And I feel I feel a little bit lost, if I'm honest with you, and I don't know how you guys feel about the situation. So please definitely do write in the comments how you're feeling today about the bigger picture. But I do feel, to start us off, that Tudor used the best players that he had. And it was by no means his particular fault of the situation that he's walked into. And unfortunately for him, he's the guy who's walked into the lion's den and chosen this path. The only saving grace and the upside to that is I do appreciate how he speaks, particularly after the game and what he said about Tottenham and Arsenal being worlds apart. It's stating the obvious at this point. And I've heard some people draw some similarities between Igor Tudor and Conte. But for me, it's not just Igor Tudor. It's not just Conte. It was Ange. It was Frank. No matter who the mouthpiece is for the team, it's always the same story with this club over the past 6 years. And in all fairness, I don't think it was the worst display. I really don't. I've heard some people saying it was the worst game ever. And I think sometimes the occasion gets the better of you and you see things through a rose-tinted lens because we all got hyped up by this new manager appointment. We all got sucked into the belief, to the positivity that things could turn around. And when you're on a high and you don't manage those expectations, and your expectations are that you're going to win a game and you're going to come out, and that's not how it plays out, the crash after that is so much harder to take. So, guys, my advice is to keep a level head. We never said that we were going to win this game, in all honesty and reality. If we really look at ourselves and we look at the position we've got ourselves in, how anyone could have truly believed in the bottom of their heart that we could have taken something from that game is looking through those rose-tinted glasses. Because we know that we have no bench. We know that we have loads of players out injured. And the truth is, at the end of the first half, yes, Arsenal looked like they were the better team, but we did go into half time at 1-1. And likewise, even when we came out of the second half, they scored their first goal and we got one back, which I think was a very soft foul that was given because, as we all know by now, there's been comparisons that have been drawn to other games, particularly one that we appeared in earlier this season with Liverpool and Romero, which got given. So the question isn't, should it have been allowed? Should it not? What we should all be calling for is some consistency, because maybe we would have drawn that game. Maybe the goal gets allowed in this game and it becomes a draw. But either way, you kind of look at it and you think to yourself, well, that was a very soft push, right? That was a very soft foul. However, from that point forward, we did not just have the legs. We did not have the bench. It was the ceiling of the squad that we have. The difference being Arsenal were not even out of first gear yet. And so Arsenal were able to push on up and we find ourselves in that sixth gear and we just cannot push ourselves any further. Moreover to that, I think the back line was an absolute shambles, not for the first time this season. This has been a pattern which has been ingrained into the squad. I don't know when and I don't know why. I don't know how this happened, whether it happened under Ange, whether it happened under Frank, because we were having a conversation after the game, and you'll see it in the matchday vlog when that comes out live later, that some people were saying that we kept hold of Frank for too long and that his defensive style got so ingrained into the squad that we haven't been able to push on forward. Now, the issue that I take with that is that we never had the basics right under Frank in the first place either. We never even had those basics in the Premier League last year under Ange. So this has been, for me personally, and you guys can share your opinions in the comments, but for me personally, this has been an ongoing situation for years. You know, it's been something that I've spoken about for weeks. And we even had a look all the way back to 2022, looking back at the statistics of the squad. Now, of course, to offer like a bit of a flip side and different perspective to this, you're playing a back line of Mickey van der Ven, Dragusin and Paulinho. Now, Paulinho I can forgive because he is not a centre-back. And when you're playing in a back line of three against the best team in whatever, according to Igor Tudor now, you know, he instinctively at moments of the game came forward and he was clearly out of position, but you could see he was more comfortable there. And so I just think that he needs to tweak that for the next game. He needs to maybe play a back four thought and include Sousa in there. Maybe we'll see Pedro Porro if he comes back, but Porro's not going to be able to push up as a left wing back if he's in the back line of three. So he's not going to be, we're not going to see the best out of Porro if he plays in a back three system. For me, Dragusin, not good enough. He's not good enough. And I understand, I empathize that he is coming back from injury, that when you come back from injury, it can take you a while to find your form again, that he himself has been playing under three different managers in effectively a 2 year period. But it doesn't excuse the transfer state that we have become. It doesn't excuse it. And moreover than that, Mickey van der Ven, the guy who is supposed to be the guy who's representing the squad right now, who's coming out in all the presses, who's speaking about Frank in his presses and speaking about Igor Tudor style and speaking about Andrew's style, and he's the captain on that pitch. And the amount of times I saw Tudor on that sideline screaming his head off for the back line to communicate, the amount of space that Saka was having at times between Spence and Van der Ven, we were just open, gaping holes open. Mickey did not look like he was listening at all. Tudor's going, move up, push up. And he's just standing there going, what, what? And it's not the first time we've seen players do this, responding to new managers. Whether they've become so resigned to the fact that the board just simply don't care and they have owners or people who they are contracted to and they're not playing for the club, that might be a bigger question and a conversation that we realistically need to have. Because if I can't see Tudor over these next 3 games get the squad listening to him, then it's not a manager problem. And I said at the very beginning of January in my first video, which was Frank in, that got you all here in the first place, that doesn't matter who the manager is, it does not matter because we have no squad depth. And you know what? Even if all of our injuries, all of those players were fit and ready to go, I don't think we compete. And I know that is a tough pill to swallow. I know that that's what nobody wants to hear. I don't want to hear it. But that is the reality. We need a reality check. This is where we are. Do we really honestly think that if Kudus is back in the squad, that if Odebear is back in the squad, we're going to be any different? I certainly don't believe so. And even then you could say, okay, well, then we'd at least have more attackers on the pitch. We had 3 strikers on the bench yesterday, but we had no midfield because our defence is so weak. So whichever way you look at it, there are holes all over the pitch. And the reason why we lose games is because of mistakes. At 2-2, you're thinking, maybe we can get something out of this game. Even when that goal got disallowed and it's 2-1, you think, maybe we can get something out of this game. But at 3-1, our heads drop. The attitude stinks. Whether it's morale, whether it's confidence, the fans were getting behind the squad yesterday. All they had to do was pick up their heads and keep playing. But they couldn't keep up the momentum. They didn't have it in them. They don't have the physicality. Xavi does not have the physicality. He has the potential to be a fantastic player. But like Odebear, like Tell, like so many players before him who have been recruited into this squad, they are mediocre at best. At best. And tell me if you disagree. Tell me if you think that with all our injuries, if we had them all back and they were all fit and raring to go, that the situation would be different. Because I have become so jaded that I just cannot see it. I cannot see where our next win comes from. That is the reality. We were weighing this up on the way home. And I'll save that for the video, even though it ends very abruptly at the end because my phone died. I do think that when Richarlison came on, he had that shot which Raya saved in the back of the net, like right off the line. He just like scoops it before it rolls over. And that just shows you the fight that Arsenal have, the fight not to concede another goal. And I think if we would have finished that game at 2-1, we would have been okay with that. We would have said, okay, we couldn't push up. But it's the fact that we just, at 60 minutes, that was it. It was gone. We had no more energy within us. We couldn't muster up any kind of creativity to bring something to that game. And the most painful thing about that is that we conceded 3 goals in that game. 2 weeks ago, West Ham were minus 19 goals behind us. We have just decreased that gap by 5 in 2 weeks. I don't even know what the goal difference is right now. My laptop's already lagging. What is going on? But the gap right now in terms of goal difference is now minus 13. It's now minus 13. So from minus 19, we've decreased that gap by 6 goals in less than 2 weeks. If we keep doing this every week, Fulham had a great game yesterday. If Fulham beat us 3-1, that is how our goal difference gets diminished really, really quickly. And look, all of us, none of us want to talk about going down. None of us want to have that conversation. And we keep avoiding the conversation because we don't want it to be a reality. And I like the fact that Tudor is saying, we have to kick on. We have to look forward. And he's confident in the fact that we're not going to get relegated. And I applaud him for the attitude, for the mentality, for coming in and trying to turn this around. Whether he's the guy or not, who knows? Is the situation too far gone for any manager? Because when you don't reinvest, when you don't strengthen what you have, the universe is going to catch up with you. You either take action or the universe will decide for you. And that is what's happening right now for Enoch. They let time pass them by. They recruited badly. Levy said it, you will miss me when I'm gone. And people are now realizing and waking up to the fact that he was never the problem because the problem was so much bigger than him. £150 million still sitting in the bank. Sitting in the bank for what? In fact, we might even need that 150 million because approximations are that if you do go down, you're going to lose 200 million. Probably plus. And that is a big, big hit on a club like Tottenham. Because if you're not going to take that moment to kick on, then guess what? It's going to come for you. You're going to be next. West Ham have reinvested. Forest have got a new manager. And we have to play Forest. I mean, talk about a big 6-pointer. That's going to be against Forest. And we haven't picked up any points from teams playing in the relegation. None. Well, actually, that's a lie. I think we picked up 1 from Wolves, didn't we? Oh, we picked up 1 from Burnley. But even still, yesterday was disappointing. It was disappointing. Of course it was. Of course, we have to take the hit from the Gooners laughing in our faces for the last 30 minutes of that game. But the gravity of the situation, I'm sorry to tell you and to state the obvious yet again, but it's so, so much worse than that. It's so much worse than that. And someone needs to go into that back room and give them a kick up the arse. And I'm not even talking about the players because Tudor said that he saw them giving their all. And I believe him. I believe that the players were giving their all in this game. I do. I genuinely do. Particularly from the off. I think what was revealed yesterday was we started first 45 minutes and we pushed on. We showed probably the best of our ability. But in previous games under Frank, we've also only been able to play 45 minutes of football, except those 45 minutes of football have been in the second half. So now the question for me has become, well, maybe Frank, at some point when we played Arsenal or Chelsea, became very aware of the fact of how many injuries we have. And so the style of play he chose was to try and kick on in the second half rather than the first half because the other team is a bit more worn out and that's where you can push on because you can see it. You can see we only have the squad depth and the talent to play 45 minutes. And some of the comments, you guys, you've been asking me, well, why is it that we can't play 90 minutes of football? Well, the truth is, they're not good enough. They're not good enough, and we don't have the squad rotation to, I guess, get everyone playing at 80%. Bissouma was our best player on the park yesterday. He's not even in our Champions League squad. And the thing about Bissouma, we saw it under Ange, we saw it under Frank. He was our best player for the first three games under previous managers. And then he just falls off a cliff because he has no discipline. And so, yes, Bissouma had a fantastic game yesterday, but I'm not convinced that come Crystal Palace, he's going to be the same player that we saw today. I don't know why. This is a cultural shift that needs to happen. And I do. I feel for Tudor. I do. I feel for him because there's no way out of this. There is no way out of this. You have to walk through the fire to get out the other side. And if you're going to walk on hot coals, your feet are going to hurt temporarily. But that's the only way. You can't sack off games. You have to play them. And you have to play them to the best of your ability. And what was blatantly obvious, as Tudor came out and said after the game, he's realizing the gravity of the situation. In all honesty, this is what I've been saying before. Why is it that we can finish top four in Europe, but we can't in the Premier League? And this is why teams across Europe fear us, because we have a reputation across Europe. That reputation is not upheld at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the Premier League. And it was rocking yesterday. We even had a tifo, you know? But the tifo doesn't make you play better. You can have a tifo, but if it doesn't make you play better, then it's absolutely irrelevant. I would actually rather you save that money and put it towards buying some players. So, guys, to be completely honest, because I've had so much going on with the vlog and everything, I actually haven't had a chance to look at anything from yesterday other than Igor Tudor's press conference. And it's a sad state of affairs. I feel like I've come on here so many times before and we've had the same conversation, and it's so painful. Because at what point do things change? We're locked in now till the end of the season. We're locked in. That's all we can do. That is all we can do for the rest of the season. The only hope that we have are some players are going to come back in. That's the only hope that we have. And I'm sorry to inform that to you guys, but that's going to be the reality. We've got some tough games to come. And even if you'd say on paper they're not the toughest games, they are going to be tough games because everyone is fighting for their place this season. It's the tightest season we've seen in years. And so Wolves are pretty much relegated, but even them, they're showing a fight against Arsenal. So yesterday, to summarise, in summary, yesterday was probably expected in terms of a loss. It was optimistic in terms of attitude in the first half, but we have a lot of work that needs to happen between now and the next few games. I'd say the saving grace of the situation is that Igor Tudor himself used to be a defender. And so when he was talking after the game, he was talking quite clearly about our defence not getting the basics right. And if he, as a defender, as someone who has had experience playing the game, can bring something to the squad, to get into their heads and minds, to play in a way that's not suicidal football, that's realistically the best case scenario that we're going to have, you know? So I'm sure we could talk on this a lot, but because I still do want to edit the vlog, and it was a 35-minute video, so there's loads of juicy bits in there, not least from the reactions to everything. But if you're still interested in Tottenham Hotspur for the rest of the season, then please do go and watch that when I post it a little bit later. But I think in summary, the best that we can hope for is that we kick on from here. The best that we can hope for is that we get a few wins. Everyone's saying 3, 4 wins is going to get us over the line. But you'll see in the matchday vlog at the end, I'm not convinced that that's going to be enough. I saw the way that West Ham played against Bournemouth. They didn't win it, but at least they took a point. I saw the way that Leeds had fight against Chelsea. They didn't win it, but at least they picked up a point. At the moment, we're not picking up anything. We're not picking up anything. The only thing that we're picking up is flares that our own fans have thrown in the back net because they want to sabotage our own game. It's madness. It's going to be a really, really tough end to the season, guys. So all I can say is buckle up and lock in. Manage your expectations, because if you think we're going to get far in the Champions League, you are mistaken. And I'm sorry to be the voice of reason in all of this. Sarah, the Spurs orator that you guys have branded me as, you know, it's the reality. And so we can't get angry. We have to face reality. This is it now. Maybe we're walking blindly into the championship. Maybe that's the case. Maybe next year we are going to be playing Derby. Who knows our fate? And the only people whose fates hands that this fate is in is the players. It is the manager, because it's too late for the board now. It's too late. They've made their bed, and so now they must lie in it. And we as fans, we have a lot to lose. We have our pride to lose, because as fans, this is embarrassing. But for the board, for Enoch, this could be the quickest fire sale in history if we get relegated to the championship. And maybe that would be a blessing in disguise. It's not what we want. It's most certainly not what we want. You know, wishing ill on our club and on our team just feels so wrong. And I would never wish that. But if that is to be the trajectory, if that is going to be the outcome, then the only people they have to blame is themselves. I turned to my dad on the way home in the car yesterday and I said to him, if we get relegated to the championship, would you still go? And he said to me, of course. I'm a true fan. I've seen it before. We went down in the 70s. That's what you do as a fan. And so some of us, we are loyal to a fault. We will keep watching our team. We will show love for our club. We will be there through thick and thin, the highs and the heartbreaks of the game. But the board, if you want to wipe off 1 billion overnight, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. This is a lesson in how not to run a football club. This is the lesson for you. Maybe that's going to be the title of this video, lessons on how not to run a football club. Anyway, guys, look, these rants could go on for a while. And because I don't have any kind of timestamps on here, I don't know how long I've been going for. But look, we're going to push forward. We're going to keep backing the team until the end of the season. We've still got games to play. It's not over until it's over. So don't take this as the be-all and end-all of this season. I know what I've just said about the championship and things, but please, this was Arsenal. This was the team who are top of the Premier League right now. And so we're taking our humble pie, as they might be, not necessarily having their own apple crumble or whatever. But we've got to take that humble pie. We've got to take a slice of it, because we're not that team that we once were. Dele Alli was saying we were all a family and we were all together when he was playing at the club. And it's crazy to think that the guy's still playing
or hopefully soon he's going to be back on the pitch. And the mess that we've become in that time, in such a short space of time, we have become just a shadow of the club that we once were. Anyway, guys, we move forward. We move on. There is no other way. You play through the pain. We watch through the pain, through squinted eyes, through whatever metaphor you want to use, because that's what's going to happen for the rest of the season. And maybe you guys are going to be watching with a close eye for the rest of the season because of the relegation fight that we're in. Because it wouldn't be the same if we were sitting 14th or 15th. People would have just given up. But now we have to show ourselves. And so this is where it matters most going forward. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Please do share your thoughts in the comments. Please, again, do like, subscribe, share this channel because it really, really does help. And I don't know, some of you are saying I should be doing this full time, but in order to make that happen, I need the support of you guys, the community, if that is going to be the trajectory of this channel. And look, I hope for all of us that next year the matchday vlogs will still be in the Premier League. So guys, I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye for now.